I said it just when we started. I said this just when Edgar LUNGU died. I told you that Abantu, they want to get political capital out of the death of Edgar LUNGU. And some of you have been accusing me, no, you are being uncouth, you are being insensitive, you cannot talk about the widow like that, and so on and so forth. But surely, nangu, even if you people, you are so loyal to whoever you are loyal to, even if you are so loyal, even if you are so naive, honestly, how can you today not see the political machinations attached to President Edgar LUNGU's death? How can you not see it? Can't you see how everything has played out? Can't you see how everything has played out from the time that Edgar LUNGU died? But actually, let me tell you this. I told you before, I told you that when Edgar LUNGU died, people didn't want to announce that Edgar LUNGU is dead. Instead, they wanted to embalm the body and keep it for 2 years, meaning until after the elections. They wanted to continue using Edgar LUNGU to say, Edgar LUNGU has said this, Edgar LUNGU has said this, and yet Edgar LUNGU is gone. I told you, and these things, it's not that I talk about them from a political sense. These are facts. These are facts. And if you go back even before Edgar LUNGU died, Edgar LUNGU, and God is seeing me here, that I'm not lying. Edgar LUNGU was reluctant to come back into politics. Edgar LUNGU was reluctant. I went a number of times to ask Edgar LUNGU to come back into politics. He refused. He was refusing. He was refusing. Edgar LUNGU was refusing to come back into politics. I was interacting with Edgar LUNGU one-on-one. He was refusing. And that is how I asked him to say, so who are you supporting? Because we need an opposition. We need a strong opposition. Because at that time, I saw that UPND was growing wings. I saw that UPND was becoming big-headed. And we needed an opposition. That is what I was looking for. That is why I went to Edgar LUNGU. I went to Edgar LUNGU because I needed an opposition, a strong opposition. I looked around. There was no strong person that could challenge Hakainde Hichilema. I have been saying this from time immemorial. I've been saying that between Edgar LUNGU, between Hakainde Hichilema, without Edgar LUNGU, there is no one in between there. There is no one. If you remove when Edgar LUNGU was not there, there was no one in between here who could really challenge Hakainde Hichilema. And I was looking for that person that would come in to at least offer, a substantive opposition to Hakainde Hichilema. There was no one. And that is why I went to Edgar LUNGU. Because only Edgar LUNGU had at least some political cloth, some political strength to fight Hakainde Hichilema. Without Edgar LUNGU, nothing. And I went to Edgar LUNGU. Edgar LUNGU was refusing first. He was refusing. And I asked him then, so who should we pick? Who should I go with? Edgar LUNGU himself told me, look around and see who you find. I looked around and finally I looked at Brian Mundubile. Brian Mundubile is clean. Brian Mundubile has got a quality leadership. Brian Mundubile is reliable. Brian Mundubile has got a heart. And these issues, I lived them. I didn't know Brian Mundubile. Brian Mundubile is not somebody that I've known for a long time. I came to know Brian Mundubile during the time of, the Bill 10. when there was this constitutional review. That is when I knew Brian Mundubile. And I looked at him to say, this guy looks okay. And eventually we became close. So I went to Edgar LUNGU and I asked him to say, what about Brian Mundubile? And he said, it's okay. That man is okay. And that's how I started. Brian Mundubile. And Edgar LUNGU himself had a meeting with Brian Mundubile. And he told him, Jacob, take up the responsibility. I'm not coming back. Very sure. But then, all of a sudden, after Lungu Waisa South Korea, some of you have been saying, no, Lungu was not going out. Lungu went to South Korea. Actually, that time, first he went to South Africa. He came back. After South Africa, he even told me to say, after my trip to South Africa, I'm even more convinced that I should not come back into politics. After he went to South Africa, he came back. I don't know what the doctors told him, but when he came back, he said, I am very sure that now I shouldn't get back into politics. From nowhere, Edgar LUNGU went to South Korea. When he went to South Korea, when he came back, there was a change of heart. That is when now he started coming to say, no, Shan, he didn't say clearly that he wants to come back. But clearly I could see that he wanted to come back. But whenever he was talking about coming back, Esther Lungu was always next to Edgar LUNGU. Esther Lungu was always next to Edgar LUNGU. And Esther Lungu's contribution was always the same. Muliva Mwenso, you are scared. You are a scared man. You are a scared man. And I could tell that Edgar LUNGU did not change his mind. Basically on himself. It was influenced by Esther. One of the meetings which we used to have there, Kunganda Kwaidex, even Winter Kavimba can tell you. Ask you Winter Kavimba Ngandewe, Tualekara Patebo, Tualikere Patebo, one time. Esther was there, Esther was protagonist, played a role in Edgar LUNGU coming back. And what I heard is that, somehow, when they went to South Korea, he was Katushinga Wadiwa Peperela or whatever it is. But Esther was really at the center of LUNGU coming back. And Esther was part of the issue of pushing away Mundubile. That is how Mundubile was pushed away so that Edgar LUNGU come back. She was part and parcel of all this nonsense of Edgar LUNGU coming back. I'm telling you this because I want you to understand the background and what is currently happening. It has got a background. Now, Edgar LUNGU didn't really want to come back into politics. These people around, they are the ones who were pushing him. And some of the people that were pushing him, given LUBINDA, Nakachinda, Nabanan, they were pushing him. They were candidates who were around Edgar LUNGU. And most of these candidates, they had lost their footing in the political arena. Listen to me very well. Listen at this point. Most of these people that surrounded Edgar LUNGU, who were pushing him, they had lost a footing on the political stage. They had lost a footing on the political stage. How? For example, those who lost Ama elections, there were those who lost Ama elections in 2021. These are the people who were around Edgar LUNGU. Given LUBINDA did not contest, and he was nowhere. The only job that Given LUBINDA had was acting vice president, not acting because he was appointed. So that was the job that he had. Without Given LUBINDA being acting president or acting president, because at one point he was even given the powers to act, if you remember. Okay, if you remember, there was a letter that was written to say he's acting president. So the only job that given Lubinda had was to act as PF president. And this his job was dependent on Edgar Lungu. Without Edgar Lungu, given Lubinda's appointment was in question. And then we had these other guys, Nakachinda. What job did Nakachinda have? Nakachinda didn't contest. If not being SG, then what? But so his political life was dependent on Edgar Lungu, who appointed him as Secretary General. Given Lubinda, his survival in politics was dependent on Edgar Lungu. Without Edgar Lungu, then that's it. He doesn't have a job. Then you can talk of others in there were shamu because but you can look around the people that used to be around Edgar Lungu. It is those that lost elections and those who had no job politically. And their survival in politics was dependent on Edgar Lungu. And this is why they were pushing Edgar Lungu to continue in politics. Even when Edgar Lungu was now sick, some of us, me personally, I said Wamdalawa is not okay. We knew of the sickness of Lungu, and I said it to many people. I even said it here on live. I said, those of you who want to be presidents, just campaign. Edgar Lungu doesn't have the courage to appoint another person. But why Edgar Lungu didn't have the courage? It's because these people that surrounded him, they couldn't allow him. Because if at all Edgar Lungu had withdrawn, what would have happened? Or if we would have needed a convention. Okay? If Edgar Lungu had withdrawn, had resigned, what was needed was a convention. And a convention, these political candidates who were around Edgar Lungu, they knew that they didn't stand a chance. They knew that they would lose. They knew that presidents might go to somebody else. And that person who would get the presidency would be the one to appoint who should be Secretary General, would be the one to appoint who should be Vice President. So already you can see the fear that given Lubinda had, you can see the fear that Nakachinda had, you can see the fear that these people around had. They were scared for their political life. Without Lungu, they were nothing. And they kept Lungu there. They insisted. Yes, you would say, but you were also pushing a level rapo. Yes, I was pushing a level rapo. But afterwards you realize that there are these challenges. And one of the challenges that Edgar Lungu had, number one, Mwenso, which Esther was attacking him for. Number two, his financial position was not very clear to me. Some of you used to say, no, I never saw Lungu's money. Then the third point, which was very important, by Lungu Baliwele. And I started saying, let somebody take over, let somebody take over, let somebody take over. But once PF, they were scared. Those who had potential to become presidents, they were scared. Including Munduvire, we know it, because Munduvire ngale fire, ngali vivula, even before Lungu talafwa. But they were scared, and according to them, they say loyalty. Yes, you can say loyalty. Yeah, Brand Munduvire, I can put it to say it was loyalty. But then again, I didn't understand this loyalty. For me, I was a little bit uncomfortable. And I feel that I was right, actually. I was right. So, they wanted Edgar Lungu to stay in power. Without Edgar Lungu, their political life was gone. Their political life was gone. And they kept him. But Edgar Lungu afwa. Edgar Lungu dies. And when he died now, they had that problem. These people, they were living, they were like ticks sticking on on Edgar Lungu. Their political life was dependent on Edgar Lungu. That was their political life support. Their political life support was Edgar Lungu. So they held on to him. But Edgar Lungu dies. Now, after he dies, I mean, this guy is the one that used to keep us. How are we going to go on? Those issues number. No, no, whatever. All this nonsense that they tell you, it is nothing but them trying to survive. Them trying to survive. Including a woman Esther, I speak on a firm ground where Esther has been part of the political life of Lungu. She has been very much political. She has been in the background, but pushing Lungu. Even when he was alive, Esther no komudi, ushenga Lungu tabale myewo kobati, iwe ulanda kwa tinyaba. Nababionso bushiku, kulanda pali wa mwali kwa tomwenso. Tamawa kwa tinisata. But I'm different from Sata. Lungu used to say that. I'm different from Sata. I'm different from you. Pointing me. I'm different from you. I can't be like you. I'm on my own. So allow me. I was pushing him to say, come out, come out, come out. You know? So that man I can't say may he so rest in peace. That man was used even when he was alive. And even now, this issue that we have, where Lungu is not buried, it is nothing but the political survival of some of these individuals. Political survival. Political survival. Without Lungu, they are nothing. And that's why they have been holding on to that. Makebi Zulu has known the trick of holding on to some of these people who have got power. Makebi Zulu, remember Makebi Zulu was stuck with Arabi. He stuck with Arabi. He showed loyalty to Arabi. Okay, he showed loyalty to Arabi when Arabi lost power. When Arabi lost power, remember there were cases against Arabi. Makebi Zulu was defending Arabi. He was defending Arabi. And through that is how he got connected to Edgar Lungu. Because after Arabi lost power to Sata, Sata died. And when Sata died, Edgar Lungu needed somebody to help him. And the person that helped, especially financially, it was Arabi. Arabi helped Edgar Lungu to become president financially, and he also gave him Eastern Province. Arabi's popularity in Eastern Province was very solid. And the Eastern Province was given to Edgar Lungu by Arabi. In that negotiation of rewarding Arabi for giving Edgar Lungu resources at the Eastern Province, that is how you saw people like Makebi Zulu becoming MP and minister. That is how you saw people like Boma Nusambo coming in as MP and minister. They came from Arabi. There are other people that came with that were brought in by Arabi, given to Edgar Lungu. Now, Arabi, this Makebi Zulu, after Arabi Afwa, he became very close now to Edgar Lungu. Edgar Lungu and Bakabwalala. Arabi is specialized in defending Bakabwalala. Makebi Zulu is specialized in defending people that are alleged to have embezzled our resources. One of the cases, but the case that Makebi Zulu was defending Arabi, it was the case Ya Oil. If you remember, some of you who may remember, it was the case Ya Oil ya Nigeria, where RB went and sourced oil from Nigeria, okay? That Nigeria supplies us with oil. But later on it was discovered that that oil which Nigeria was supposed to bring to Zambia could not be used in Zambia. And so, but the deal was already made. And so that oil had to be sold somewhere else, as if it is being sold to the Zambian government. But that did not come to Zambia. That oil was sold somewhere else. And anyway, that is the case. I don't want to dwell so much on that. But that was the case. That was the case which brought Makebi Zulu to defend RB. Now, and then PF, you have seen. Bonseva kabwalala. Bonseva kabwalala ba PF. Lawyer wabo ni nani? Ni Makebi Zulu. Lawyer wabo ni Makebi Zulu. The lawyer for most of these people that have stolen money in Zambia, including Malanji, it is Makebi Zulu. And so Makebi Zulu has played his cards very well. When Lungu died, Makebi Zulu was in South Africa. Makebi Zulu knows well the journey to the death of Edgar Lungu. He knows very well. Makebi Zulu, they were together with Vamayowa Esther Lungu. They were together. And whatever has happened, they must have been planning together. They have been planning together. They planned everything together. Whatever has happened, there is no way you can remove Esther Lungu out of this. No, Esther Lungu has been part of this. And later on, I've come to learn that Edgar Lungu had deposited money in a number of people. A number of people, whereby he has given them money, they start businesses, they operate businesses, and the owner, it's Edgar Lungu. It's Edgar Lungu. And who is the lawyer helping Edgar Lungu to, strike these contracts with these different people? It is Makebi Zulu. So, now that Lungu is dead, who knows exactly who holds money for Edgar Lungu? It is Makebi Zulu and Esther. And this is where now this whole conundrum comes in. This conundrum comes in because now they are interest to protect. There is money to protect and there is power to be gotten. Power to be gotten from Hakainde Hichilema. But they want to remove Hakainde Hichilema. And so Makebi Zulu has really been staging himself. To take over power and to make sure that he continues with whatever embezzlement that was done during the time of Edgar Lungu. So Makebi Zulu at the moment is powerful in terms of what? Powerful, number one, in terms of resources. Because he's the one who knows. He's the one who, I suspect, this one I can't say for a fact, but I suspect as his lawyer, is the one that must have been drafting some of these documents with people that were given money in different countries to run businesses for Edgar Lungu. Makebi Zulu must know about this. He must know about this. But Esther, of course, as the wife, she must know about this. Now, somebody is saying, but too much confusion. Now, I'm coming. Now, where does Given comes in? Given Lubinda's survival is dependent on Edgar Lungu. Given Lubinda's political survival is dependent on Edgar Lungu. Is dependent on Edgar Lungu. But you say, but he's dead. Yes, he's dead. But there is a guy that is at the center. There is a guy that is carrying the resources that Edgar Lungu and the connections that Edgar Lungu had. That is Makebi Zulu. And he's being supported by the wife. And this is why they staged up all that nonsense that has been going on in South Africa. No, that was shike, no, whatever. No, these are all machinations to make sure that they keep the power, they retain the power and they keep the money. Makepi Zulu is not coming for you Zambians. Makepi Zulu is not coming for you Zambians. Makepi Zulu is not coming to be president for you. No. Makepi Zulu is coming in to make sure that all the monies and the connections that Edgar Lungu had are preserved. The day Makepi Zulu would become president, if he become president, if at all he would become president, it will mean all those Vakabwalalas, they will be restored. All those Vakabwalalas, they will be restored. And the power, but Esther, she is interested in that power. She was the first lady, and she feel insulted to be going through courts and the processes and everything that she has been going through. So these people, they are there. It is like a group. And given LUBINDA is sitting there like a small boy with, sitting, next to the king. He has to benefit something. He has to survive. He has to survive. So, Abba, never given on himself, on his own. He doesn't have a political strength. He doesn't have. Given doesn't have a political strength. He doesn't. He is a person, is a veteran politician. He has been around, but he doesn't have capacity. Given LUBINDA doesn't have capacity to spin things for himself. He doesn't. So, given LUBINDA, yes, he's a presidential candidate, but I can assure you, given knows that he cannot beat another person. He cannot beat, particularly, he cannot beat Mundubile. He knows, given knows deep down his heart, he knows he cannot beat Mundubile. And unfortunately, for most of these guys, Mundubile is well sold. Mundubile is clean. He's not like the Kabwalalas. He's not among the thieves. He's not among the thieves. Mundubile doesn't have a case that Makepi Zulu is defending. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have. He's not part of the Kabwalalas. So Mundubile is like an outcast. He's like an outcast. So what is going on at the moment? It is they are trying to fight to eliminate Mundubile. They are trying to eliminate Mundubile. All this nonsense, it is those that were parasites, that were parasitical to Edgar Lungu. And Edgar Lungu is dead. And they are still holding on Kuchitumbi. They are sucking blood Muchitumbi. They can't let go. They can't bury. They can't bury. So once Wakawala, and then Waisamuna Mundubile Kukusaiduku, he is seemingly doing much better than all of them. If you put Mundubile and given LUBINDA, Mundubile is far much better. Even yourselves, you have seen. You saw Mundubile with his crowd at the secretariat. You saw Brad Mundubile, you saw given LUBINDA with his crowd at the secretariat. You have seen how ingenious Brian has been reaching out to other leaders. Given LUBINDA had Chanda, Peter Chanda. They are the ones who had held the Tonse purpose vehicle. Eh? They were the ones. But they failed to manage Peter Chanda. And Peter Chanda has left them. Right now, they don't even have a purpose vehicle. But Mundubile, if you see, Mundubile is the one that is sitting with other opposition leaders. He's sitting with KBF. He's sitting with Fred Mende. He's sitting. Given LUBINDA is not. Given LUBINDA is not. Given doesn't have the capacity. Given knows he cannot win an election. So instead of letting go to say Brian should become, he wants to save himself. How does he want to save himself? He's aligning himself with the Lungus, with the Kabwalalas, because they are the ones who have got capacity. And this is a group that has been there, that has been sucking political life out of Edgar Lungu. They have been sucking political life out of Edgar Lungu. And they have to continue. They have to survive. So they are ganging up together. They are ganging up together. They are coming together. These changes, the droppings that you saw where the given is dropping this one and what and what. These are people that they have seen that they are on Brian Mundubile's side. They are on Brian Mundubile. They want to make sure they have ganged up against Mundubile. This is what it is. They have ganged up against Mundubile. They want to kick out Mundubile. So that, you know, but yeah, I'm a political suckers. Bakwa Edgar Lungu, those who have been sucking blood out of Edgar Lungu can emerge victorious. And at this point in time, Makebi Zulu, because Makebi Zulu is connected to Esther Lungu. Makebi Zulu, if you ask me, where is Makebi Zulu getting the strength? Where is Makebi Zulu getting the authority? Where? Eh? Be real, think. Where is Makebi Zulu getting authority? Where? Edgar Lungu is gone. Makebi Zulu is getting authority from Esther. From Esther. And everybody is converging around Esther. And this Makebi Zulu is anointed by Esther. Don't say no, niba mukamfuirwa. Tapuli mukamfuirwa. Abantu awa niba bachabe. Abantu awa bachabe. They are planning. So don't be blindfolded. Don't be hoodwinked in some sympathy of no, they have of bereavement. No, these people are planning. These people have been planning, and all these things that you are seeing, what Given has done, it is to make sure that they fix Mundubile. They want to fix Mundubile. I've been avoiding talking so much about Mundubile because I don't want to be seen like, you know, I'm still supporting Mundubile. I'm supporting Hakainde Hichilema now. I'm supporting Hakainde Hichilema now. So I've been avoiding talking so much about Mundubile and the vaccinations going on against Mundubile. I've been avoiding because I don't want people to mistake me that I'm still supporting Brian Mundubile. For 2026, I'm supporting Hakainde Hichilema. No doubt. I'm supporting Hakainde Hichilema. And let me tell you, I'm a politics. It is about, what serves your interest. No, it's about what serves your interest. Hakainde Hichilema, number one, yes, from the national point of view, I want continuity. I want Hakainde Hichilema to continue. I want continuity. I don't want changes in leadership. It costs the country. We cannot afford to be changing governments every 5 years. Every 5 years, the country will not develop. Look at I'm sorry I can mention this country. Look at Italy. Italy has been changing prime ministers, prime minister. Italy is in Europe, and yet Italy is struggling economically. Why? Because of changing leaders. Countries that have developed, I'm telling you, they have stability at the leadership level. When you don't have stability at the leadership level, it becomes difficult for a country to develop because whoever comes in, he comes in with his own views, with his own ideas. And they tend to undo what the other person, what the previous leader, the predecessor did. They undo. And they tend to fire this one, hire. It is cumbersome. It is cumbersome. And I'm telling you, my brothers and sisters, we don't need to change government in 2026. That is number one. Number two. On a personal level, me, I want to come back home. And I am, after elections, I want to be home. After elections, I want to be home. I want to come back home. And Hakainde Hichilema, as much as you say, oh, Hakainde Hichilema terela, that is not the perception I have of Hakainde Hichilema today. That is not the perception of Hakainde Hichilema I have today. Look at Amos Chanda. Look at Frankie Bwade. Because some of you like to say, but you used to say this. What things did Frankie Bwade say about Hakainde Hichilema? What about Amos What about Sunday Chanda? There are a number of people. Hakainde Hichilema has matured in politics. So Hakainde Hichilema, I'm seeing him as a person that can unify the country. Yes, there is this tag. No, Hakainde Hichilema is a dictator. Hakainde Hichilema is tribal. No, Hakainde Hichilema has matured. Hakainde Hichilema can help to unify Zambia. And I want to be part of that unity. I want to be part of that unity. And that is why I'm supporting Hakainde Hichilema. That is why I'm supporting Hakainde Hichilema. Yes, I'm telling you, I want to come back home and I want to be part of the unity government that is coming next year. Next year there will be a unity government and I want to be part of that unity government. So, if you have been doubting, whatever, I want to tell you, what is my interest? My interest is that I want to come back next year in the unity government of Hakainde Hichilema. These others, I don't see them to have the capacity. Even Brian Mundubile winner, he doesn't have the capacity. He doesn't. I still maintain that after HH, Apapakacha, Patapali, Opolungu Afida, since Lungu died, there is no one in between. Hakainde Hichilema will be having 5 million votes. The next person that will have votes will have 200,000 votes. 200,000 votes. And I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose. Why should I? I'm sorry to Brian Mundubile. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, he's my friend. Yes, I believe in him. But he can't win an election. He can't. So, Namieva, I'm a reasons. And since I've told you the reason now, I'm telling you now that Brian Mundubile, they want him out. They want him out. So, while I was giving you my reasons or my interest, I want you not to think that I'm supporting Brian Mundubile. I've given you my reasons why I'm supporting Hakainde Hichilema. And I'm not supporting Brian because Brian, I know he will not win an election next year. He cannot win an election against Hakainde Hichilema. If Brian Mundubile will be on the ballot and he gets 200,000 votes, ni shabomba. Ababambia bashala ngabakwata 50 votes ni shwabomba. Ba Fred Membe ngabakwata 20 votes ni shwabomba. Uyuna nikano yu adshan sangwa ngabakwata 5 votes ni shabomba. Ale ngima 0. So I am a political strategist. I know where I'm going. I know where I'm landing. But Brian Mundubile is being ostracized. He's being ostracized. He's being kicked out by Wakawalala, those political parasites who were surviving on Edgar LUNGU. The Chitumbi family are the ones who are coming up with all these machinations. Don't think that what Given Lubinda has done is for himself. No. Given Lubinda knows he has already lost this election. Given Lubinda knows that he will not manage to beat Brian Mundubile. So the only thing that they can do is to come together and defeat Brian Mundubile. The opposition that they have within PF is Brian Mundubile. They are even coming up with, look at the things that they are coming up. They are coming up to say, no, Brian Mundubile is working with UPND. Brian Mundubile is working with UPND. But really, I know Brian. I know Brian. If there is one guy that you can trust at least, but politician, you can't trust him. But if there is one guy that you can trust, at least Brian, you can put your bet and have some chance to say, Shala Bomba. Not Chawawa Shala. Given Lubinda win. Given Lubinda is a liar. Given Lubinda, wabu forgiven, wabu bad kind. Wabu forgiven. He sued me in court and the court can, no, I don't know. He has never even been in my house. And yet I used to eat in his house. I used to sit on his table eating with him. But he comes up in court and he says, no, he has never been in my house. Given wabu fee. He's a traitor given. He is a traitor. That's why Basatawa mutamfishen chito. Basatawa mutamfishen chito given because of Wutreta. Given was fired by Wasata because of Wutreta. He's a traitor. And even here, Given Lubinda is playing around. They have gone on one side. They are on this side. They are fighting Brian Mundubile. But I can tell you about PF, if there is any chance that you have to survive. If there is any chance that you have to survive, it's Brian Mundubile. If there is any chance that you have to survive on the political landscape, it's Brian. Only Brian can at least take you somewhere. But you PNG, tabale muikata Brian, because Brian Mundubile, chinshibala muikatira. They are saying, no, it's a project. Ichobala muikatira Brian, chinshi. Tell me what Brian has committed, because muralema pa social media. Malice muapena, slander muapena. You are always slandering, you are always, coming up with things. Bring up what do you have against Brian? What has Brian done? That by UPND, nangu bale for ayama cases, nangu they want to fix people. What do they have on Brian? What? Even when you don't have. So it is not that Brian is a UPND project. It is just that the guy doesn't have anything that you can hold on. There is nothing. I've walked through to my cases. No, it was not Brian. It was not Brian. I had interaction with so many people. You can ask Chitotera who's in prison. He will tell you about Museo Mulanda Po, Museo. Chitotera knows. Chitotera was for infrastructure. He knows better about that road. He can tell you. No, Brian, Shani, what you are free. Where was Brian? Where was Brian in all that? So, there is nothing that UPND can have. And from a democratic point of view, I think for me, I would say, let Brian succeed so that we can have an opposition. The only opposition that we can have after 2026, because I will be part of government, the only opposition that we can have after 2026 in the government that I will be, we can declare some how we can declare some that Papa Karunga Tapavenson, Irandirandira Pof, no come you conserve Mdaranga, Murepanga Muchechi, Mufuremwaishiva, therefore in 2026. After my elections, I should be part of it. I mean, our ministers more kwata, abadefira no kulanda. Alefira no kulanda muntu minister nga isura kanwa ma problems yekaeka. Nga isura kanwa ma problems yekaeka. So surely, I mean, if those people that you have appointed are ministers, you know, ngafira kuba minister. How na mwa ka inde chine mu kan chitef. You know, not straightforward. Ndalandira. Now very straightforward. Therefore, in Chito. It's on the fire. I support therefore in Chito after my elections. Therefore in Chito. And I know Aka Indechima will give me a job. Not from Musabai. Hey, why don't you come back? Why don't you come back? She will go with a number. Therefore, we sang an aquatic. So I some number on some station. No, come back. Hey, why don't you come back? In case I can pesa. In case I yenshi. Nganaisa ku Zambia. If I come back to Zambia today, nkwele ndekenjise ku Zambia. Ukesandisha. Mwema sabaila. No. Hey, why don't you come back? Why don't you come back? Ngana wela ku Zambia lero. Ukesandisha nkesa kala munganda mumove. Nkesa no rupo rwandi na bakashibandi. Ukatupeleko bedroom, ukotukale ikara. Ukaletulisha. Kutuwatulisha iwe. Kutuwatulisha. Wadishwa budget yana nkane ya bari wofo yaba. Kuithopia kwa ama spices. Inkoko ama spices 20. Ama spices yakula umutengo ama spices yakira n'inkoko umutengo. Kutumwa isandisha yi. Na bikwata bakashaba suma mfire ngana isaisa kuzambe ninkwata nchito. Ninkwata nenganda. Na motoka ninkwata ala iwe. Ungarenda panish. Ukeze. Na aliwa strategic ine. Ndatontonkanya. Echo nshira ku Zambia. Inganda yandi bali toba. You saw all of you. Bali toba. Bali toba and there is nothing. I sold everything. Chongana wela ngesa ikala pesa. Hey, come back. Why don't you come back? Bloody fool. Ngesa ikala munganda woke sandisha. Ndefo okwisa aka inde ichile mangampere nchito. Ero apate champering alambika pesa akainde chilema. Where is akainde chilema going to put me? Where is akainde chilema going to put me? But after my elections, afira kandanguluke akainde chilema. Brani Mundubire techawina my elections. Brani Mundubire techawina my elections. Paka kano bungata pavenson. Brani Mundubire techawina my elections. Munandi. Ero is powerful, yes. But he can't win an election. Ero Brani Mundubire futi techandishe. Ala? Fishing kefende nye wakumia wa fishing kaba ndara pa. Efo fili. So, he on some machinations. Ukulan Devenombat as a public lawyer. These machinations, all these things that are currently going on, is to push Makebi Zulu. This is all about pushing Makebi Zulu. He knows. And they want to push. And Balubinda knows. Ukwabat kuli Makebi Zulu kuli urupia. Ero na nenga nalikweta mano ya wuka wala ala. Nga nalikweta mano ya wukuruku. Na ina wenenga ndele ndala mashakwa Makebi Zulu ndemi yebu. If nga nalikweta mano ya wuka wala ala. Nga ndele ndala mashakwa Makebi Zulu. Nomba ina nishifuaya ukuli ndala mashakwa wuka wala ala. I want at least if you're on Dolweke. If you're on Dolweke. Not in ndala mashakwa chitumbi. Tefo nava. So, if you want money, kuli Makebi kuli urupia. Makebi Zulu na Edgar LUNGU ewe shive. Indala mashia shonse shovale ronga. Mulika presidential jet. Eko shava. Ewe shive. Ba Mundubire. Bale ona ule diru. Chilaiti ba Mundubire. Ale ona ule diru. Baka wana na bali bale plana. Then baroresha Mundubire. Uichikambo yale tona ule diru. Mundubire ale ona ule diru. If you look around, even the people that are around Mundubire. Takuji baka even ba Davis Mwira. Ba Davis Mwira. Look at ba Davis Mwira. Ba Davis Mwira bamdala bakwera pofi. Nenkoko. Aba nawo bale bekata na million mu chan. Bena bamdala ba Davis Mwira. The only thing that he showed us that he has ninkoko. Inkoko shamani. Ama train mo 30 kwacha. 30 kwacha pakwa tukwate ukwate 3000 dilishinga mani. Ufile wa shoko 100 jamani. Kuli bakawala ala kuli Brani Mundubire bakawala ala bali uku bali kuli they are protecting their interest abantu ni bakawala ala and Brani Mundubire are wona wira. But from my perspective, the only person that is better even after ilo tukaba mu government uingaba good opposition ni Brani Mundubire. He's a better guy. In terms of PF, PF tapani no point. Na ikwatama issues PF. Na PF chinete valeruila, PF chali tobeka. Valeruila PF PF chali tobeka. Ati no, Brani Mundubire alifo kutwala ku UPN, alifo kutwala ku nani kale ku kushani, ku FDD. Yes, you need a purpose vehicle. So if Brani is thinking of bringing FDD in, that is a good thing. I would say Brani Mundubire, go for it. Go for it, Brian. And I can tell you, Brian, ababantunga chakwa tibale fefya bupuba. Ubaleke no kubaleka. Iweko nkani hapo, go get a purpose vehicle. Ngani UPN, ngani FDD, ngani katushi. Isha ishwanga kwa libarumati ba KBF. But anyway, whichever ngani socialist, get a purpose vehicle. Ababa kabwala alaba, don't even waste the time because your PF valela ndapo PF takuli. Ero ngani Makebi Zulu takwete future. Ndemi ba takwete future. Haka inde ichine manta tumpa. Uwako bat esale kere Makebi Zulu after all that upuwa achitamudia. And Makebi Zulu to come and be on the ballot, contesting with Akainde Ichilema. You think Akainde Ichilema is that foolish? You really think Akainde Ichilema? Because when Makebi Zulu there is working Muzambia, kwati niwa studying. But then you are Makebi Zulu, but then I'm Jim Bajoga, chan. Anyway, Akainde Ichilema is not stupid. We are allowing you to do your nonsense at the moment. Because your time is coming. There is something that has been prepared for you, Makebi. There is something that has been prepared, and not prepared maliciously. Not prepared maliciously. But there is an issue surrounding the death of Edgar LUNGU. There are issues. And those issues, they will be dealt with very soon. They will be dealt with very soon. Makebi Zulu, nifila balanda tumo anaika lishanganya. Makebi Zulu akekala mumafi. Makebi Zulu, aleikala mumafi. No mbali na akekala mumafi, Makebi Zulu. No akumu pipa taka mumone. No akumu pipa taka mumone ndemieba. Hivi tunapangale lo pachiverushi ndemieba mukanjiukisha ukweba ti Makebi Zulu akekala mumafi yakwe no akumubipata kwa kave takwa kave so bakavwala la mose mwe wale ituntumba and you political amateurs, you political infancy like akakana nikanatikashani atikanani akakamwa ichaka atikanani aka akakamwa ichika mavere akaka mavere atikana nimwe kama anacheka kwa tamavele kwa tima ni twin tower ya ku Malaysia atikanani lembeni ko munani kane kama anacheka fuma vele fikurufi kanani ama mtu ati chair of whatever mukekala panshi mwaichi mukekala panshi no mbali neve mukekala panshi ine ame political strategist muntu andikale na tamba politics ndafimona kwa na lole shapa ba mundu birate tibakwanishe abanani awe turafe na akainde ichilema forward chave ninji shiwecho ndera forward muntu wandi ninji shiwecho ndera forward tetimiwe ninji shiwecho ndera forward tapari mwina ibepa. Even some of you think no, hey wait, no, things are very bad. Things have been bad even in the time of UNIP. Things have been bad even in the time of UNIP. That's why Chiruba became president, because things were bad. That is why Sata became president, because things were bad. Things have always been bad. But this time around, Hakainde Ichilema is not going. It's not going. Na ngumu kwate hallucination ya shani mule ibe pafi imwe wala mufuni hapo Hakainde Ichilema ni nani? Wala mufuni hapo nani? You think imwapo ngamwaikala mwebene batatu babili batatu ni mumona tu muri bengi. Zambia yikulu mwira ibe panga mwaikala mule nwaka chasu mwambo kuibepa mulebya beggars nenda la mashakwiba ishakwa lungu, and you think that mtima wina my election tete muwine kwa pa ballot nshamewera kamudolo takakabe pa ballot. Didn't I tell you that kamudolo takakabe pa permanent can from ballot? Where is kamudolo? Where is kamudolo? Mwaris changwa mudolo. Where is mudolo today? No, you in a Makebi Zulu. No, you will never keep Zulu. Nobody nefi. I like a mafia kwe. Nobody nefi Makebi Zulu. So, I don't want our Makeb Banan Kane va given Lubinda. Tabaton Tongan Okufika Patadi. Va given Lubinda Badi Quatamano, but Tabaton Tongan Ofika Patadi. Amano Yabo, Taya sana. Barafiro Kuya Patadi. Barafiro kuya patari ba given Lubinda amana nikane mulesha tapali okomulea wa mdara. If you want advice, call me, I'll give you a good advice. Not a mama's nations mulecha ba given Lubinda mukaisanga muri mwamone ni nobody nefe ba given mukaisanga muri mwamone ni ba mdara mukaisanga muri mwamone ni ba mdara mukaisanga muri mwamoneni na wekesha bo mukaisanga muri mwamoneni. I don't want to review things around you, but I can tell you Amdara iyo mulecha ya mama nation lekele niko kuchitumbi ba given lekele niko kuchitumbi musheni Makebi Zulu mwarasha la pambiribiri wa Mdara mwarasha la pambiribiri yera mapiba mitobere yachepa because you've been problems. You've been problems. Vamdala given ndemieva vamdala inwe turapusana ndo watemwa but nalimitemwa vamdala nalimitemwa chofo ndemieva lekenya ama nations filekeni vamdala chinjeni gear PF tapali iyo PF mwiketi tapali PF tapali chinjeni gear vamdala chinjeni gear wangu mwikonkerero oyu nanikane makembi zulu kabwalala mwimukonkerera wa given lubinda namieva mwimukonkerera wa mdala lekeni aya nechitumbi chakwe tapaloko chileba twala takuli very soon the chickens will come to roost. That's all I can tell you. I don't want to talk too much, I don't want to review, but very soon the chickens will come to roost. Anyway, I think naranda sana tafikwenye tamufuile. So if everybody I am nations yabalubinda ndebo mfiro luse. If they want to get rid of Brian Mundubile. But I can tell you, the survival of the opposition at the moment, if there is somebody that is coming out, ule moneka kofiat uyu, ni Brian Mundubile. Ni Brian Mundubile. Okay, but nishta ule musapota. Nishile musapota because tete win my elections in 2026. Ilende fo kuwera. Nishile fo anka were. Mfilo kuwera kunjito. Inchito yandile ni politician. Ndefo baka inde chima. Na ine baka nsove kwa kachito. Vile wasova kwa wachani. I'm even better off than some of these guys. I can do much better. So, every dash. I think na sawa ila sana. Bye.